Station! Fire! Right in normal! Stop flowing!
10 degrees
Stop
power.
flowing! 2,000 in the group!
Get an EBS first man now, move yourself!
Right. I have the ship half ahead, revolution 40.
The medical party!
Slowing down, in control.
Get boots up, somebody.
Stand by to surface.
That was an exercise, but the next time it could be for real. HMS Superb. They call her Super B. Her commanding officer is John Humphreys.
What makes us special? Everything. We're what the great British viewing public knows as a hunter-killer. Nuclear powered, 4,200 tons, 125 on board at a maximum, although there are 137 on the books. Unlimited in endurance, really, apart from food. And typically we're capable of 90 days as a matter of routine away at sea.
Stand by the fire. 10. 9.
Conventionally armed. We are traditionally a deep water submarine killer by profession. We are also involved in intelligence collection. We can be put up threat, remaining covert, to give what's known as indications and warnings back to our political masters. We work with special forces. We sneak up on you in the dark and deliver our package and then sneak away again. Not that we're sneaky, of course.
Ever since it was formed, the submarine service has attracted a special type of sailor. They're quite proud of the fact that they were once dismissed, even by the Admiralty in 1902, as underhand, unfair and damned un-English. Over the next 6 weeks, we shall follow this special breed and the submarine they serve. Without doubt, it takes a particular type of person to be a submariner and a special type of person to be a submariner's wife. Away from home for months at a time and with no way of keeping in contact with that home and any problems that may arise. It's a way of life most of us would find untenable. But what do we know of a submariner's life while at or under the sea? According to Dave Reggie Perrin, it's not like the movies.
First of all, no, we have never been attacked by a giant squid, as we see on TV programmes. Well, I think as yourself, when you're walking through the submarine, you don't hear the ping, ping, ping like as shown on TV films. That's all gone nowadays. We do have the ability to do it, but we don't. When you're younger, it's easy, you're away. It's more of an adventure when you're younger. But when you get older, you're married, you have children, you do tend to worry about your family.
We met when I was 21, and we met through my friend who'd gone on holiday to Crete. If you like somebody, you don't think about what their job is and whether you can cope with it or not. You just take it as it comes. It's just something that you just have to get on with, really. You haven't really got any choice in the matter. You just get on with it. A lot of people say to me, "Oh, I don't know how you cope," and that I cope really well in that. But to me, I just feel that it's just sort of going from day to day. You just have to get on with it.
The loved ones may argue that their lot is harder than the men's. It's the constant uncertainty. But Phil Doc McGonagall had no uncertainty about joining what is known as the trade.
When I was in training, it was a time where there'd been short of MAs and they were short in a few places, and it was either
submarines or Royal Marines, so living in a ditch is not my way of earning a living. So I opted for submarines, and plus my brother was in submarines, he was a PMA in submarines. So I had an idea of what the job entailed, so there was that. And also I get very seasick, so it's best to be under the water than on top of it in a ship or something, so that's why I came to submarines.
Phil lives in the Devon countryside with his wife of 5 years, Kate. The couple want children, but being based at Faslane in Scotland and long tours at sea aren't helpful. The time at home is precious, and for more reasons than just the opportunity to be together.
It's lovely to have space because the submarine is very an enclosed environment. And one of the problems that a lot of people don't think about in space is your vision, because you're never used to looking more than 20 feet. Once you've been at sea for a while, you get back and your distance vision is awful. You have to be careful when you're driving and things, because you've got no, you can't judge the distance at all. But the space, yeah, I mean, I like it. We live up here, it's nice and open. We go out with the dog and stuff. I just utilise the space I've got by leaving things everywhere, which doesn't go down too well.
The main thing is really the smell. They do everything that they have, everything that they own, it just smells of diesel oil and just the submarine. And you're so used to being on your own. I mean, apart from that, I mean, that's easy, you just throw things in the washing machine. But apart from that, really, I'm so used to being on my own, having no children or just the animals to look after, that I find it's very difficult. He sort of interrupts my routines and my way of living. And actually, it's quite hard to begin with. If it's just a short period, then you slot back into your own little ways quite easily. But if he's been away for a substantial period of time, then you sort of resent him, really, because he's... I mean, not that I do much or I go places particularly, but just my own little ways of times of eating and going to bed and things like that, and he just sort of interrupts it. But that only lasts a day or so, and then once that happens, you just slot back into the same old routine. Nothing changes. It's as if he's never been away after a sort of 4 or 5 days.
Keith Asprey lives in Plymouth.
Trying to sell it to somebody, I don't think you'd be able to sell it to anybody, because we breathe artificial air, we're in artificial light, we don't get any sun. It's hard work, but I think it's the friendship, that because everybody works for everybody else. We work as a team and everyone relies on each other, because there's a lot of things can go wrong in submarines, and we all have to have a certain idea about how to react to any sort of an emergency, for instance.
Keith met his wife Sherry 7 years ago. She was only 20 and knew little of the life of a service wife. She admits that she sometimes gets jealous of the friendships that develop among crewmates. A submarine could be a cruel mistress.
There has been a few times, isn't there, where I've been sort of like crying on the phone to him and everything else, but I do hold it back because I know that he doesn't like to see me getting upset, and it's not fair on him if I am there sort of like crying my eyes out on the phone. So I have to be strong for Keith, really, because it's not going to be fair on him if he's going to sea for like 2.5 months or something, knowing that I'm in a right state back home. So I've got to let him know that I'm okay and that I'm going to be able to manage on my own, really.
It doesn't get any easier with time. Coxswain Paul Kennel and Michelle have been married for 22 years and live in Gosport. If the wives are worried about showing their anxieties to their men, then the men equally have to hide their feelings.
It's, if anything happens, I think, is the main thing. Michelle's had problems before. You know, I've been away on a submarine before when Michelle's had a miscarriage at home and had to deal with that all on her own, and other things happen. And, you know, you're just hoping that something major doesn't occur while you're away on a submarine, and not probably too bad during a workup stage or the sea trial phase straight after refit, but once you go on an operation, you know that the boat's not going to surface and get you off, and you probably wouldn't be told until the end of it anyway.
All right then. Bye then. Bye.
We don't have any contact at all, we don't get any mail or anything, so it's just a case of having to shut it off and think, well, you know, everything will hopefully be all right, and when you get back, you know, quick phone call and make sure that it is.
Superb is one of Britain's hunter-killer class submarines. When she slips away from her base, she can stay at sea undetected for 90 days or even longer, to seek and, if the order is given, to destroy enemy ships and submarines. This story begins in the shadow of the 4th Rail Bridge, and the cold, glassy waters that lead Superb into Rosyth Dockyard. She may be one of the most powerful warships in the world, but at 25 years of age, she's considered an old lady. Super B is coming to the end of a 3.5-year, £200 million refit. The figures involved are awesome. 24,000 items have been checked and surveyed, 14,000 items overhauled, 25,000 litres of paint and 345,000 nuts, bolts and washers have been replaced, along with 136,000 kilometres of cable. The nuclear power plant and propulsion systems have been overhauled and refitted. Weapon systems have been upgraded. 2 million man-hours to turn the 25-year-old into an ultra-modern fighting machine.
The untrained eye, it looks a bit of a mess. I mean, we've got a lot of ventilation here. This is due to the painting, and we're extracting fumes to keep the fumes away. And of course, we're doing hot work as well, where they fit new valves into the 29 bulkhead up here, which a lot of hot work goes on. So you have to watch what you're doing with painting and hot work so you don't get explosive mixtures in the atmosphere. So there's a lot of vent hoses, and that's what all these hoses are here. The cables themselves, the units are stripped out, the cables are checked and run through, and basically say you preserve them, tally them up ready so you know where they go back, so the jigsaw all marries up at the hinder end.
The pride of the workmen in the Scottish yard is self-evident, but there is also great urgency. Deadlines have to be kept, and not just for the massive rebuild programme. The crew are about to come under intense pressure. Well before many of the crews see their new charge, the workup schedule has begun using the simulator in Plymouth.
Emergency stations, emergency stations.
The new Superb will be unlike anything these men have ever had to crew, and that includes Commanding Officer John Humphreys.
We are none of us bright, otherwise we'd be snorting coke on the stock exchange and flying our own Learjet. So we do things by rote. So these guys will react in accordance with emergency operating procedures and make the boat safe. The training that we're doing at the moment is part of a process designed to bring us from novice stage with background experience into a submarine, out of a refit environment, which is 3 years alongside, not being at sea, and then in stages out to sea to do simple things and then do more complicated things until ultimately we can operate in any of the areas we're asked to operate. And so the process starts with theoretical training, and the bit we're doing now is using some of the simulators that are available. If we make a mistake, it doesn't matter. It's a simulator, it doesn't cost £300 million every time you run aground.
Lower search, raise attack.
Lower search, raise attack.
Main bunker, stop, fire safe, shut.
You have to surface the boat between 5 and 10 degrees bow, otherwise you do the old flip of the dolphin routine. Straight back down and we all die. What we're training these guys to do is react to emergencies to a certain point. And the point is getting the submarine in a known and safe condition.
Petty Officer Perrin has made the long trip to Rosyth from Plymouth. For him, it's like getting a first glimpse of the new car that's been ordered with a whole range of extras and refinements. Reggie has served mostly on T-class submarines. At under 100 metres in length, Superb is not big, especially when it's jammed full of high-tech equipment and a skilled crew. But compared to what he's been used to, the refitted sonar room is big.
Wow. This is unbelievable, the size of this compartment.
Compared with the other?
Compared with all the other submarines I've had. I'm a bit taken back for words at the moment for the amount of room that we've got in here. I've now walked into the Junior 8's mess. How many's in this mess altogether? 60. 60 blokes got to share this room. Obviously they won't all be in here at the same time. There will always be some on watch. This will be what is known as the officer's 5 berth. You get more junior officers in here because there's no ensuite, there's no sink in here, so they have to go through to use the other one. There's only one way out and you've got to reverse. Life on the submarine.
A lot of people think that being in a submarine must be claustrophobic. In my 20-odd years in submarines, I've only ever met one true claustrophobe, and he had to be medically removed. As far as I know, he's still serving. He now serves in general service in ships. A lot of people would have coffin dreams. They lie in their bed at night and wake up panicking just because of the closeness of their environment. And that's all part of living in submarines. A lot of people suffer from that. That doesn't make them claustrophobes, that makes them 99 out of 100 rather than 1 out of 100.
That's all one person gets, is that in there, put all his kit in. And we're going to have little bags fitted underneath the bunks to put anything extra in as well. Not a lot.
That's your egg. Don't touch it, Michael, because it's very hot.
For Gail Perrin and the family, Reggie's trip to Scotland will be the first of many separations.
I find it hard, obviously, because it's basically like being a single mother all the time when Dave's not here, which I am used to now, but it can be difficult depending on what's going on at the time, but especially if one of them are ill or anything. And if it's anything reasonably serious, it can be, obviously worrying, but it's worse when you haven't got your husband there to support you and to help you.
This has been my main compartment when I'm at sea. I'll be sat in here controlling the sonar that's going on, feeding the command with all the information. Because when we're actually dived, we are the eyes and ears of the submarine in this compartment in here.
Was it a bit of a shock ending up in Rosyth?
Total. But that's life in the blue suit, as they say in the Navy. It's my first time I've had a draft out of area, so I can't complain too much. I tried to wriggle out of it, but not too hard. Married, wife, I've left my wife down in Plymouth with 2 children. She's accepted the fact. I'm lucky I've got a strong wife who can put up with that. I'm only going to be away for a while. That's what I've told her anyway.
Merchantman, dead ahead. Go deep, go deep, go deep. Keep safe depth. Safe depth. Down all masts. Shut bulkhead doors, mag compartment blows. Brace, brace, brace.
We're taking a team that has never been before together and asking them to put a submarine that's been parked alongside for 3 years in a challenging environment. There is still so much that could go wrong, so consistency is my biggest concern.
Watch stand 2, submarine return to periscope depth.
That's right, the only failure is we're about 1 million miles off course, aren't we? We're going to cut the drill short slightly, so it's an early tea break. Yahoo! Yahoo! Exit. Good.
While many of the crew will be coming to Superb fresh, some of the senior members of the complement have seen the massive project all the way through its long 3.5 years. Coxswain Paul Kennel is one. He would much rather be at sea than alongside, and now that the time is coming for completion, the pressure and the paperwork is mounting.
It can be quite mundane until you actually start getting more people joining the boat and start crewing up, and then get into sort of the last 6 months, and then you've got the big push of getting moved back on board and getting everybody into the different mentality that you are actually going to sail, and you've got the sea trials and then the work-up stage to get stuck into. So at the end of the day, it's a lot better to be on the boat and then away than it is stuck in refit.
Second rank only, 1 pace forward, march.
An ordeal for any member of the senior service is the parade. In this case, it's 24 hours away from the rededication ceremony when Superb is officially accepted back into the Royal Navy.
Right, trace!
It's a running joke in the other 2 services that sailors cannot march. they know only too well themselves. They even wear their boots out trying during rehearsals. But for submariners, it's doubly hard. There's not much room for drill practice in the cramped 272 feet of a hunter-killer class submarine. The captain knows that the top brass will be watching closely, so a few prayers are quietly spoken that all goes well. Well, better than rehearsals anyway. The boots still need spit and polish, and on the morning of the ceremony, Superb is still a hive of activity. Like all major projects that have a deadline, there comes a time when the urgency takes on a momentum all of its own.
A great submarine tradition is that it looks an absolute pot mess until right up to the end. There'll be various times when all will look to be totally lost, totally disorganised. But there is a plan. And 99 times out of 100 we achieve the aim. In this case, the company were the ones pulling things to bits frantically, cleaning them, putting them back together, laying the walkways to disguise the fact that actually they're still doing work on board the submarine, so that it looked good, so that it felt good. And you use it all the time available to you. Yeah, it always feels difficult, and that's one of the difficult things of being in my position. You just have to let the blokes get on with it and trust them. Every now and again you give a steer, but they're all good blokes and they know what they're doing.
The Navy has to accept all the work that's been done over the 42 months by Babcock Industries Group before the boat can be called HMS.
The great thing about Superb is that there is a great feeling of corporate ownership. There isn't a them and us. So the company, the Ministry of Defence agencies on site and the ship's company all want the same thing, and that's important.
In the pre-harbour inspection, everything is checked one last time. The government has spent £200 million of our money on the boat's refit. Every penny has to be signed for. But this isn't just an accountant's exercise. Only when the inspectors are satisfied can the next phase of Superb's voyage back into the fleet begin.
The top of a bin. Let's put there so that we can find it, of course. Did we pass the test? Yes. There you go. Can I have the £5 now, please? If it goes wrong, it will be a disaster. If we have overlooked something, if somebody picks something up and the company turn around and say, OK, I'm going to need time to fix that, then that will have a direct impact on my sailing date. And I would not be happy about that.
Next week on Submarine, Rededication Day. The emotional goodbyes are made. Superb is crewed and provisioned, and what everyone has been waiting for over 3 years happens, the first voyage. It's an hour to go before the big moment, the rededication ceremony, where Superb is officially accepted back into the fleet. Guest of honour is Lady Philippa Williams, who launched the boat 25 years before. It's a ceremony that has changed little since the first Superb was captured from the French in 1710.
Parade! Stand up! Ace!
HMS Superb, rededication order. By Admiral Sir Michael Boyce, Knight Commander of the Order of the Bath, Officer of the Order of the British Empire, Admiral in Her Majesty's Fleet, and Commander-in-Chief of Her Majesty's ships and vessels employed and to be employed in the fleet.
There have been 9 Superbs, each with its own history and folklore. Some exemplary in battle, some destined for peace duties. The present vessel is the first submarine to carry the name, but it carries more firepower than all its predecessors put together. She may sail under the motto, with sword and courage, but it takes courage to face hostility with the sword undrawn, and a special breed of men to crew her. Men of the trade, as they are known, and celebrated in Rudyard Kipling's poem. Their feats and fortunes and their fames are hidden from their nearest kin. But at this ceremony, the men and their families are far from hidden. It is a time of celebration for the return of Superb and the men of the trade.
May God the Father bless her.
Bless our ship.
May Jesus Christ bless her.
Bless our ship.
It's just a great day. It's an announcement, we're back.
The pennant flies proudly and signals that Superb is ready to do her duty. For the crew, there's a last week for the domestic life, and then men like Phil Doc McGonagall will sail for no one knows how long.
You don't really get used to it. You know you're going to go, but you don't ever want to go back. It's always a big thing at the end of your leave for both Kate and myself. For it to, you know, like a big thing hanging over us that in a week's time, then we'll be separated again from now till Christmas. We're at sea for most of the time, really. So from now till then, it'll be most of the time's going to be away. I'll get home probably twice, possibly 3 times, if I'm lucky. So come here, bud.
For wife Kate, the final days are as stressful as any in married life.
Since almost the day he came home, really, you sort of count down. It's like counting up to Christmas when you're a kid. You're marking off the days on the calendar almost, and as time goes by, I get more and more stressed about it, and more sort of het up and jumpy, and perhaps my temper gets short, and I don't know, it's just a horrible feeling. You're just wishing 3 weeks of your life away, really, when you should be spending 3 weeks enjoying time together. But I hope we have, you know, I just feel time runs out so quickly.
Time together is precious. In 2 years of marriage, the longest period, leading hand Jamie Sowden from Penzance and his wife Mandy have spent together is 5 weeks.
Well, we haven't been married for very long, so I haven't really had that long at it to sort of really say what married life is like, especially as he's away, obviously so much at the moment. So fingers crossed in the future it'll be more like married life rather than him being 600 miles away, really. I think about the most, we haven't spoken to each other or any contact, about a month. I get quite worked up beforehand, more so, you know, the last phone call, oh, I love you, I love you, I love you, all this. I don't know if everyone else does that, but I do. And when I said that, I didn't mean it, and all this, you know, you like, you know, sort of like your last words for that sort of length of time. I really hate that bit. I will definitely cry every time if I'm at work or whatever. You know, sort of, it's quite hard to sort of like be normal and casual. We're not going to speak to your husband for like quite a while. No, I don't do that. I don't do normal.
Every week she cries when I leave. It's like no exceptions every week. So I don't think she'll ever get used to it. She may put up with it, but I don't think I want her to get, you know, to ever get used to it. I mean, I think because then the magic's gone and it's sort of, you know, people start getting independent of each other, and I don't want that to happen. So.
I won't walk. You better write to me sometime. It is upsetting for me. As I say, we haven't been together that long, so it's not like, you know, we're fed up with each other, we're bored of each other. You know, we're sort of very much in love and we want to be together, really.
Oh.
Piece by piece, step by step, the separate elements that make up a crew are coming together. Some come from Scotland, some from the southwest, some from Portsmouth and Hampshire. Service life takes its toll on relationships. Ships away at sea, postings abroad for many months, don't provide the continuity that married couples need. Commander John Humphreys is of 2 minds about leaving shore for the sea.
No idea. Supposed to have staff for this sort of thing, but you know, in today's modern Royal Navy, you have to pump your own kit.
He has the worries of a recent split with his wife and wants to bury himself in work, but there are 3 children he's leaving behind.
Morning.
While Superb was alongside, the loved ones had, at least, a small sense of security. Now that she's going to sea, even that will disappear.
I mean, I know we're not allowed to know where they go, and I mean, I don't anyway, but I mean, it's just the fact that you can only send, like, you've only got like 4 family grams, which is like 20 words on it, and after you've put like P.O. writer, Asprey, love you, miss you, house fine, I'm fine, you just don't know what else to say, and plus you don't hear anything from them at all from the time they leave to the day they get back, so it is just constantly worrying whether basically he's okay.
For many of the crew, living away from the office, like Keith Asprey, can mean a 10-hour car drive from Plymouth to Scotland. And for wives like Sherry, it heightens the sense of isolation. John Humphreys, on the other hand, lives almost on top of the shop, but that can mean he's always on call.
The escort's parked just down there in the do not park here zone for the crane.
I'll go and get myself rogered by a mod policeman for having it parked in the wrong place.
Well, as long as it's not on camera, you'll be all right.
Yeah. That goes back to Jerry Connor, presumably.
Yeah, it's the SRG escort.
Okay, sir.
All right. Jolly nice, thank you very much.
What's up?
Must mean we're going to sea, does it?
Means we're going to sea, sir.
Oh, marvellous.
Keith Asprey and Dave Perrin are mates and share the driving. For Gail Perrin and her children, the next few months are going to be a test. They don't know when they'll see him again.
Right. Bye-bye. Bye, Mike. Say bye-bye.
Give us a ring when you get there.
Yeah. If it's after 11 o'clock, I'll just let the phone ring twice. Before 11 o'clock, you pick it up. Is that fair enough? Right, take care. I'll see you in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or 5 weeks.
Yeah, right.
You all right with that? Okay.
Bye. Say bye-bye.
Gail is the rock on which the Young family is based, but she admits that she's not as tough as everyone thinks, and that includes her husband.
See you then, Gail.
Bye. In the early days when Dave was away, I'd lay in bed at night and I'd listen to every noise, every creak, thinking that there was somebody in the house. Oh, gone. Oh, gone. But now I don't. I'll just go to bed. I'll go straight to sleep. I don't even think about it now.
Can you get someone to bring it down for me?
Super B is ready, and the captain and the crew have to be ready too.
It's very, very exciting. In fact, it's probably the most excited I have ever been in taking a submarine to sea, because this is, you know, my work, if you like, our work. The sense of relief getting out of here is going to be enormous.
If the sense of relief is enormous, so is the payload. A third of all this has to be crammed into HMS Superb.
What you can actually see here is one ship and 2 submarines outfits in here, and ours actually includes one whole rack with 2 sides on it, and that's how many items the stores will be going on board HMS Superb. There is around about at the moment 14,000 line items. That's separate types of items, and within that you could maybe have up to 100 to 150 of those. When you actually see it off the boat, it is quite surprising because you can't believe that it'll actually fit on board.
Provisions for 125 officers and men. It's an order any supermarket would love. It's not just the army that marches on its stomach.
We have 3 stores on board, 1, 2 and 3 store, funnily enough, and we have the freezer and the cool room. This is number 3 store. This is our biggest store. This is where we would store the bulk of our dry produce, i.e. stuff that you can see around us now, stuff that we would use on a daily basis. Number 1 store, which is a smaller store, and we would have our emergency provisions in there, which is basically a 7-day menu. Should we run out of food, and then the captain can say to me, right, we've got 7 days emergency menu, we can stay for those 7 days on dry produce only. That's not including fresh or frozen, because obviously you'd run out of fresh by this point. When we're carrying a warlord, you wouldn't be sitting in here now. I mean, it would be literally to that hatch, and we have to produce what we call a fallout menu, which is exactly what it is. It's whatever falls out the stores we put on the menu.
After 3.5 years, Superb is going to sea.
Right, George, that's your lot.
On the day of the new Superb's first sailing, the Scottish weather clags in as the Rosyth tugs fuss about, making sure that all is safe for their charge to take to the waters of the Firth of Forth. The skipper is keen. It's been a long wait. There is an air of expectancy amongst all the crew. With some hours to go, the preparations are nearing fever pitch. This is what the submariners signed up for, what they train for, and what they get paid for. They want to make sure that Superb gives a good account of herself, to those standing in the drizzle on shore. This is the cruise boat, and they want to be proud of her and make everyone else proud too.
This is about the only time a submarine will sail when everybody wants to go to sea. There are normally one or two who are going to miss the kids or whatever, but getting out of Rosyth, achieving the end of refit is a monster, and everybody wants to do it. And I don't know whether you've detected it, but there is an excitement out there. Okay, before we start, this is the first of many briefs we shall do together, and let me give you a couple of points of philosophy. People sitting here are here because they have a contribution to make. So at the appropriate time, when your comments and thoughts are asked for, feel free to make them. One or other of you may spot the only thing that everybody else has forgotten. All right? So the purpose of the brief is to discuss what we're going to do, when we're going to do it, how we're going to do it, and to pool our experience. We have not been to sea together ever before. Okay, so we have got to be thinking. All right? Right, carry on, please.
Anybody with personal gear to be taken to fast lane, you have until 12:45 to get it on the lorry on the jetty. That is all.
Sailing time is getting ever nearer, and there is still a lot to do. Everyone is moving around at the same time. Space is at a premium.
Nelly Warren.
Good afternoon. This is the leaving harbour for Rosyth and the anchoring brief for 29th, 5th, 98. All times are Zulu. Comms will be channel 71 for 4th nav, channel 13 for the tugs, and channel 16 is QHM.
Leaving dockside, even for someone with years of experience, is a nerve-wracking time. In a virtually rebuilt boat, it is doubly so. Ahead lies a 3-day surface passage around the tip of Scotland to Faslane. A pilot will be on board when she slips her moorings, who knows the waters, notorious waters at the best of time. And this is with a crew that has never sailed together and in a boat that has not been outside the dock gates for 3.5 years.
They're using the head mark rather than the stern mark on that leg. Yeah.
Moving over from the 144.
The first obstacle is a bridge, a big one, the 4th rail bridge. It's a narrow passage between the spans, and John Humphreys is already thinking about what could go wrong.
If push comes to shove and I start careering towards the bridge, you can stop me, can you?
Well, what we'll do is we'll keep the 2 tugs on the starboard side. I mean, the worst scenario is that we'd need the tugs. You could stop and get the tugs to make a turn on that first leg through the bridges. But I mean, I don't see the necessity of that. But I mean, the tugs can push on. I'll keep them on the starboard side of the submarine to turn you if things go wrong.
The worst case scenario is a throttle jammed full open, isn't it? Or, if I test a stern propulsion, jammed full open going backwards.
I don't think it'd make any difference at all. No.
Fine, thank you.
The point I forgot to mention was the fact that the pilot will be disembarking the pilot before we get to Oxcars. That's great.
You want to get off?
Please.
Never mind. Right. Going at the right time. Thank you very much. Come and have a chat when the water is cleared. Thank you.
Ultimately, it will be the skipper's responsibility to get Superb safely out of dock and into the Firth without hitting anything. Their lordships in the Admiralty will not be pleased if there was a scratch on their expensive submarine. With all the planning and preparation and help, you might think that it would be no more difficult than backing a newly restored car out of the family garage, albeit a 4,200-ton car. John Humphreys thinks not.
Well, in theory, it's dead easy. You just strap some tugs onto the side and you pull her off the wall, swing her out, line her up for the entrance to the basin, open the cassoon, and you drive out. But it's not like driving a car out of a garage, because the thing goes sideways in the wind, and you've got, if the tugs equate to the wheels on your car, well, you haven't got a wheel on each corner. You've got 2 on one side and 1 at the back and 1 somewhere else sometimes. So it's a question of balancing the forces in moving the boat, and the really dodgy bit is going through the entrance gate, because we really can't afford to hit anything. When the hull, when anything damage to the hull, we won't be moving that fast. But we're quite a delicate wee flower. We don't want to knock anything off. So once we're out of the entrance, that's the difficult bit over. The skill is in the handling of the tugs, and luckily the pilot does that.
Superb severing of her ties with the land is one thing, but for the crew on board there's now a severing of ties with those nearest and dearest to them.
You cry a lot to yourself, but then when I speak to him on the phone, if I'm able to, then he would never know that, really. I mean, he would never detect that because it's either after that or before that, or it's, you know, you do it to yourself, you don't admit it to anybody. I mean, even to my parents, they don't. Or they don't understand, but they don't know, you know, how upset people get and how upset I get.
A sailor who says he doesn't suffer homesickness is being economical with the truth. It's an occupational hazard. And it never gets better, no matter how many times you sail away, according to Reggie Perrin.
Homesickness is a big thing suffered by servicemen. I go away to sea, and after about 2 weeks, that's when it hits me, and it lasts about 5 days normally. Once I finish my watch on board, I just want to go and be away from everyone and just think about home. I've done that so many times now, I shouldn't do it, but you can't help it. You just can't help. Homesickness is a big thing.
Every service family, men and women, cope differently. Every man on board has, on this first day, work to do, and there's little time to think of home life. For the wives, it's different. Sherry Asprey prepares herself every time Keith goes to sea, but there's always some pain.
The day he goes back is really bad because I know that he's going and I'm not sure when he's coming home, and it doesn't get any easier. I think it does get harder, but you cope with it every time they come home and every time they leave. You cope with it in different ways every time, I think.
It's one of those tales of the sea. For sailors, a ship is a mistress, expensive, not always faithful, and at times temperamental.
Superb is, she's a woman, with all the vagaries that entails. In particular, having come out of Rosyth, done the refit, having spent 200 million, this Swiftsure class submarine is at the peak of her fitness. I got up this morning and it was blowing a hooligan, and that's over in Faslane. I actually live in Helensburgh. And I thought, okay, the weather's doing that. There's a northeasterly over here. With a bit of luck, it might be a southerly over there. And as I drove over this morning, it wasn't. It's still a northeasterly. It's blowing up to 20 knots. So as we go from here, out of the Firth, turn left to go north, we'll start rolling like a pig. All the way up to the Pentland Firth, and then we'll turn 90 degrees left and we'll roll like a pig all the way across the top of Scotland. So what does it mean? It means we're all going to be sick.
And for some, the rolling of a submarine is worse than for others, even the dock.
I am the worst on board, much to the delight of many of the ship's company, including the captain. I can be frequently seen on the surface in the control room vomiting into a bucket, which puts a lot of other people off, but it's just part of the job, I'm afraid. There's not a lot I can do. Fortunately, we're not on the surface that often, so it's not too bad. But when we are, 99 times out of 100, I'll be the first to be sick here.
The first brief passage is the start. On the surface all the way, no dives. That comes later. In the next 12 months, there will be tests to depth, more workups for the crew and weapons testing. They will take the submarine and its crew far out into the North Atlantic and to the warmer waters of the Mediterranean. But this trip will always be remembered by those on board. It signifies the return of HMS Superb from the unnatural home in a dockyard to the element she is designed for, the sea. Superb, faults and all, is now their home, and over the next months they will face some of the toughest tests they've ever undergone. But now they believe that the hunter-killer is up to anything that's thrown at them. For the skipper, it's the culmination of everything he's worked for in the Navy.
The previous two commands I've had, I've walked into a boat that was already running. I've taken over somebody else's system, if you like, sat down in his chair, and then progressively modified things during my time on board. With this boat, the product, the way the people operate, the way the boat runs, work ethic, how we approach problems, comes from my organisation.
Stainless to line, indicates run.
And stands or falls on my organisation. So it's much more of a challenge for me. Bringing the boat out, taking it to sea for the first time for 3.5 years, wondering whether the bloody thing will work properly. Will I get under the bridge without hitting it? Get out to sea, make it work, and then start to show people how good a product the boat actually was. That was exciting. Going to sea in command is the only way to go to sea, in my view, anyway. But that was a special moment.
Superb's first voyage was a surface sail of 3 days around the northern tip of Scotland. Now comes the sub's first real test, the dive. Everything for this nerve-wracking exercise has to be meticulously prepared. Superb has been in dock for 3.5 years, and nothing can be allowed to go wrong. Safety is paramount, and any surface vessels within a range of 1,500 metres, nearly a mile, have to be contacted and warned.
120 is a fishing vessel.
Fishing vessel, morning, dawn, morning, dawn, morning, dawn. This is Surface Submarine, Channel 16, over. Robert, is that you, over? Was that young Smith I heard on Channel 8 transmitting continuously as usual, over?
No, not young Smith, you mean old Smith, you should see him all.
The mood is relaxed, but there is an underlying tension. Commander Humphreys has years of experience in submarines. He has always wanted a career in the Navy, but there was something about the trade that drew him in.
I joined the Navy because I got a place at university, because I passed the interview board and because I was physically capable of doing the job. Went to university, did my training time in general service and decided that in surface ships. And as a young, impressionable, arrogant sod, decided that I wasn't going to fit in general service, and started to look around for something else, something more. You only get one shot at this life, so I thought, I want to be an elite. I have a mild form of hay fever, so I couldn't be a pilot. Anyway, silk scarves don't suit me, so submarines was my first choice. I joined submarines in 1979, so I've been doing it 20 years now, on and off. So it was an accident, really. But the thing that attracted me from the start was actually, I thought, for me, for my character, I had the best chance of achieving command, which in my branch is what it's all about. It's the only job worth doing at sea, as far as I'm concerned.
The trade is all about taking submarines beneath the surface, and that is about to happen.
Diving stations.
Depending on who you talk to, this is the nerve centre. This is where the ship is controlled from in terms of its course depth and speed. This is where we fight the ship from, this is where we navigate the ship from.
That bearing 175.
But for other people within the ship's company, there are different control centres. Back aft, in the manoeuvring room, as we call it, the engineers sit goggle-eyed watching their gauges, controlling the reactor and the secondary systems, because actually we're steam driven. So everybody has their station. This is the control room, yeah. It is the nerve centre. It's where the brain lives. That's me, by the way. Plot captain, secure radar.
A sharp brain, under pressure, and sometimes a sense of humour. But what else do you need to command a submarine?
You need to have a sort of confidence. And part of the reason it's worked for me is because I did an apprenticeship in the first 8 years, whereby I did all the jobs that the young executive officers of my branch do. I did the casing officer, the accounts, the classified books, the watch leading, the navigating, the sub-specialisation in the warfare disciplines. So by the time I'd done the 8 years, I was ready to do the command course, the perisher. I sort of changed, if you like, metamorphosised, maybe a bit grand, but that's where I suddenly discovered that, yes, I could do it. So then, apart from the arrogance and the fundamental ability, which is no great shake. So I actually got the last thing in place, which is confidence, and that's what the course gives you. And then it's just experience, and I've been doing it a long time. Master watch, Captain. I have the submarine. Clear the bridge, come below, shut and clip the upper lid.
It does take confidence and experience to dive a 4,200-ton boat beneath the surface. Not all the crew has been on a dive before, but ship controller for today is coxswain Paul Kennell from Gosport. Experienced as he is, there is some worry.
I don't think it's nervousness as such, it's just a little bit of apprehension probably on hoping that the dockyard have done all the jobs and tested all the valves correctly and everything's in the right place. Ship control really is a thankless task of just getting all the check-offs done within a time scale while the captain's at your back saying, come on, I want to dive in 10 minutes, and you've got to get on and just get through your check-offs basically. You're quite busy, you don't have time to worry about what might happen.
On deck. Captain, sir, ship control.
Right, number one, you ready?
Ready, sir.
Mega pipe diving now.
Pipe diving now. Diving now. Diving now.
Open 3 and 4 main vents.
Open 3 and 4 main
HMS Superb has been inside the dockyard for 3.5 years. Today, the 125 officers and men will rely on the expertise of dockyard workers they've never met.
The aim will be to let the bow come up as far as it can before we open 1 and 2 main vents.
Simply expressed, that expertise has to be trusted to make sure that Superb systems work. If they do break, the crew could be in serious trouble. The boat could be underwater, unable to surface.
Let me know as soon as the bubble's steady.
It's not just a case of getting the angle of the dive right. Also vital is, literally, keeping an even keel. The bubble is like a glorified spirit level, which, with no access to the horizon, is used to correct any imbalance. All the vents are now open to the sea, and Super B begins her first descent. It's a time when everyone on board wonders what could happen if things go wrong.
Well, this is the pointed end of the submarine, the forward escape platform. This is where the ship's office is, over in the corner. And this is where we're supposed to escape from in the event of an accident, sinking or any sort of problem like that. The escape tower is over on the left there. It's a one-man escape tower, so only one person can escape at any one time. And we're then supposed to fleet around this area and into the tower and escape through the tower. The tower's supposed to fill up with water, equals the pressure, equalises with the pressure outside of the submarine, and then the lid opens, the tower lid opens, and we go up. And whether that works, I don't want to try and test that one. So, but this is where we would escape from if we needed to escape.
No one wants to do it for real, but training is everything. It's in the case of such an emergency that submarine crews are put through the deep escape tank at HMS Dolphin in Gosport. All submariners have to go through it.
Every 4.5 years we go to Dolphin to do the submarine escape tank requalification. That's the 100-foot tank, it's a 30-metre tank that we have to train in every 4.5 years. And they build your confidence up to say that this is how you would escape. But whether you would, I don't know.
It's not a thing any of us would wish to do. Another of Superb's crew, Petty Officer Doc McGonigal, went through his emergency training at Gosport, and he got the bends, a potentially lethal condition.
I've only done it in the water once, and for some reason that nobody's quite sure, I suffered from the bends when I did the tank, and I had to spend 8 hours in a recompression chamber on compressed oxygen and stuff. It was a nightmare. Then time in hospital, so they don't allow me to do it anymore. I just have to go and splash around in the swimming pool instead of going in the water.
So we've got a doc that works on a submarine who's seasick. He's
Got the bends. Do you like the sight of blood?
I don't mind that actually. Yeah, that's not too bad. You get used to that. The other things I can deal with that, but the seasickness and that's a bit different.
On her way down for the first time, it's up periscope. The captain's eyes when the submarine is stalking its prey. He's not happy with his lenses.
Can we clean the periscope windows before we dive?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Check.
What do we clean it with? Brillo pad?
The dive is what makes the submarine so radically different to any other warship.
The bow's not coming down as fast as it ought. Put some water into the boat and trim it for us.
It defies all the laws that govern surface ships, or skimmers in submarine parlance.
Level bubble, 10.4 metres.
Shut 3 and 4 main vents.
It purposely sets out to sink itself by replacing air in its tanks with seawater. It's not the speedy process you see in films. It can take 10 minutes to dive. On this first dive for the crew, it's going to be a long 10 minutes. Slowly, gently, Superb slides beneath the surface.
6 down, 30 metres, back to 17 and a half.
Down, 30 metres, back to 17 and a half.
6 down.
Stop trimming. We have control of the bubble, Plainsman.
I have control of the bubble.
We have control of the bubble, sir. 6 down on the boat.
14 and a half metres.
Submarine passing 16 metres. Report all hatches from forward.
It's a first, tentative dip beneath the surface, just down to 30 metres, and then back up again to periscope depth. Nothing too strenuous, but despite the massive £200 million refit, she is a middle-aged lady of the sea. At 25 years old, she has to be treated with care and respect, or she might bite back, and nobody on board wants that.
Flex system seems to be passing some sort of water.
Pump both sides, can you reckon?
Conning tower open. Conning tower open, dry.
Pump both sides.
25 metres.
Access hatch dry. Roger both sides.
Paul Kennel runs quickly through the checklist. All seems nominal. The old girl has passed her first test. Even a drip of water where it shouldn't be is dismissed.
What we thought was a leak through there is no longer a leak, and the boat is in fact tight, number one.
A tight, dry boat. It's all that could be hoped for. Reggie Perrin admits now there's relief.
We might not have shown it, but there was, because you've just been in dry dock for 3 years and everything's been put back together again. Now, is it going to leak? Especially under pressure. It's not nice. Every single creak that comes up, what was that?
Commander Humphreys is going to rely on information below the surface from Reggie's station in the sonar room.
Ops controller. New passive contact on a bearing of 210. Cut. When the submarine's dived, us in here do become the eyes and ears of the submarine. If you can imagine you're listening to an orchestra, that is what we're doing at the front here. We're listening to a whole orchestra here, which is what your ears are listening to. Now, if you can appreciate, the ear can't hear everything. So we've got special equipment in here which is tuned to different frequencies to listen to things that the ear can't hear. So that's why I mentioned the orchestra. If you've got the whole orchestra playing, that's what we're listening to at the front, which is a whole lot of noise coming in, and we separate that into little bits. And then if we want to listen to one particular part of that orchestra, say the flute section, I have other sonar equipment within this sound room who will listen to just the flute section of that orchestra. At the moment we're listening to the whole picture now. We're listening mainly to, there's one just went off then, seismic explosions. Because what that is, there's a survey vessel is out surveying the ocean bed. The operator now is just trained onto a fishing vessel, which if you listen carefully, you can hear the beat of the propeller going around and the actual noise of the diesel engine. Now if I wanted to, I could separate that engine noise from the propeller noise and work out what speed that engine's doing, whether it's a 2-stroke or 4-stroke engine, and also how many pistons it's got. And when it comes to hunting for another submarine, that's a whole different ball game. That's when we've got to bring in our other sonar systems we've got in here to look for that particular one noise in the water amongst all the whole noise altogether. It's like looking for a needle in a haystack when you're looking for a submarine. But we have the capability, as they say.
Reggie has a whole ocean to listen to, but the one person he can't listen to is his wife Gail and find out her problems.
On a submarine, there is absolutely no way that we can contact our family to find out if anything is wrong, which is always on the back of your mind, especially when you come back in again. It's always dreading. It's on the back of your mind. If you get called up to the captain's cabin, what is it about? And it could be bad news.
Derriford Hospital in Plymouth. Gail is visiting for another appointment. Cancer runs in her family. It claimed the life of her grandmother and mother. She has to be closely monitored. It's a situation she has to bear alone, without Reggie's support when he's at sea.
6'9", classified. 1 shaft, 4 blades.
269 RPM.
269 RPM.
Gail Perrin, please.
Reggie knows about the visit, but there's little he can do.
She doesn't like going up there, I know, but she has to go. That's the time when I'd like to be with her.
Perrin, I'm Dr. Collett. Would you like to come and lie up on the couch? Leave your bag on the chair there, first of all.
Second year contact, I'm bearing of 245. Cut.
Michael Perrin, at nearly 2, has to become the man of the house. Submariner's children grow up fast.
None of your contacts gained during the alteration. Found one clearing the barracks.
Oh, sorry.
I had to have a scan, and then also I had to have an internal scan, just to check that everything's okay with my ovaries. And also, I have to have a blood test, but I didn't have to have that done today. And what happens is that happens once a year, just to check that everything's all right, and they've just told me that everything's fine for another year.
Over 500 miles away, below the waters of Loch Goil, Super B is also looking for a clean bill of health. She has proved she can dive, but she is designed for stealth, and that means she has to run silent and run deep. The next test is known as being on the wires. Superb will spend days running up her systems and trying to stay invisible to a shore-based listening station. This is where the stealth element of a hunter-killer comes into play. I can see you, but you can't see me. At the end of this period, Superb will be capable of silent running. Now the crew has got to get used to living on her. And whether it's days, weeks or months, how do submariners cope with close confinement?
People say to me, how could you possibly be cooped up in that black tube for so long? The answer is, none of us are special. We just do things the right way, and it works. The submarine's crew is split up according to specialisation, and about just over a third work back aft. They are marine engineers. They, of course, live forward. We don't consign them to some horrible build to live, much as I'd like to in some cases. They keep the nuclear plant and the secondary propulsion systems going. They deal with defects and all the rest of it.
Howie Kelly is a nuclear engineer dealing with the reactor.
We've just come through 58 bulkhead, the forward airlock. It's known as the forward airlock. That's brought us into the tunnel where we are now. And this is basically the passageway that connects forward and aft on the submarine. Below us is the RC, or the reactor compartment, where the reactor's housed, and the steam generators. That's an unmanned compartment at sea. And then through the bulkhead aft of us, through another airlock, that's the engine room and all the electrical generation and diesel, and where the steam that's generated in the RC goes through to drive the engines and generate electricity.
How much is generated is frankly awesome.
We generate enough power with the nuclear plants to support the electrical load of a small town. There are only 125 of us, but we exist, we live. We have a laundry, we have a canteen, we all eat very well. We work, play and rest in the same space, so we have the domestic arrangements and our work environment all on hand. So yes, we are our microcosm, if you like. Let's switch to a fish analogy. If you look at us as a barracuda, we're half teeth and half engine. The boat is laid out so that the after half is nuclear plant and steam propulsion. A lot of power pushing us along. And the front end, where we live, work, and most importantly, because we're a warship, fight.
It's time to find out if this barracuda has real teeth.
Load two-tube. Load two-tube.
This is a spearfish, the latest weapon in a submarine's armoury. They cost a lot, but you get a lot in return. The torpedo can strike a target well over the horizon. Although its speed remains classified, it's generally thought it can travel faster than the legal limit on any British road.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Fire and hum.
142. Good. Discharge.
1, 2 for first, guys. Well done.
That's the target, and that's the weapon.
1, 6.
At the high cost of each fish, it's prudent to test with dummies.
Classified submarine target.
That is bang in the middle of TUA. Intercept Alpha, that's the first hit.
Weapon bearing.
In his own inimitable style, Commander Humphreys confirms their successful run.
Hit confirmed. Large pool of black smoke. Bodies diving in the water. Sharks circling.
Ship control speaking. HMS Superb has just launched her first spearfish weapon. The run was successful. That is all.
Hurrah!
Superb can dive, run silent and fight, but to what standards? It's no good doing all those things badly enough to endanger the boat and its crew. This is where Captain Submarine Sea and Shore Training enters the fray, the Sea Riders.
When a submarine has been built or refitted or goes to sea for the first time after a long period alongside, then sea training staff, submarine sea training staff, go to sea with that submarine to help the captain train up his crew to deal with emergencies that might confront them at sea, fires or floods and so forth.
Trials that the submarine has done up until now have been limited to shallow water. The next phase of her trials is to take her into deep water. So over the next 5 days, we will be giving the submarine a series of single evolutions, simulating them by smoke for fires and releasing air for HP airbursts, and some propulsion failures as well. And we'll be checking that they can cope with those emergencies and keep their submarine safe.
5 days, 120 hours of intense pressure. There is a lot at stake, not least the reputation of Commander Humphreys and his crew.
At the end of 5 days, the CSS team will clear the submarine to go into deep water to finish its trials.
Good to see you.
It's a pass or fail criteria. If they fail, then we just continue training, and they'll not be given clearance to continue.
Hydraulic burst, hydraulic burst, hydraulic burst on the after escape platform.
The Sea Riders are CSST, Captain, Submarine, Sea and Shore Training. They're the inspectorate, a cross between driving examiners, health and safety and the Inland Revenue. They know their jobs backwards and everyone else is on board. They are feared, but they will make sure that Superb and her crew are second to none.
Emergency stations, emergency stations. The submarine has collided.
Goody, keep 60 metres.
Within minutes of being on board, the Sea Riders called their first emergency. 4,200 tons of submarine, Super B, has just collided with an unknown object. Commander John Humphreys and his crew have to take immediate action. The first emergency in 5 days of emergencies.
No, do not pump. Use the speed. Right,
The unreality of such exercises, as the hours fly by, become blurred. There is just no time to think about what's real and unreal.
This is a game, it's training, it's simulation. But to get the best out of it, I have got to make the ship's company as a whole believe that we're in the game. We're not watching it, we're not playing it, we are in the game. Yum, yum.
John Humphreys has been in the game a long time, in command of everything that goes on, even the errors.
The periscope watcher took the submarine deep in emergency because he sighted a container which had fallen off the back of some container ship crossing the Atlantic. He gives a straightforward order, go deep, go deep, go deep, keep 60 metres in this case. Unfortunately, on that occasion, we hit this submerged container.
What I want you to do then, Ship Control, is to make a further pipe to shake people out of their torpor. And that is emergency stations, carry out phase 1 damage checks, report to DCHQ, accompanied by the general alarm. Whatever it says in the EOP, do not make that pipe. The submarine has collided. We've gone deep in emergency. We've been hit by something with a loud bang. Of course we've collided. There's no need to state the obvious. This is not Jack and Ori. Okay? Okay? Good drill.
You enjoyed that, did you? That's because you've been doing it too long and you're very sad. Indeed.
Let's give it a flat now.
Long. That's all.
Emergency systems, all of them are tested.
Take off first.
In this case, the original collision has led to a fire. It has to be dealt with quickly. Above all, submariners fear fires.
Is it quite rough, is it?
P.O. Reggie Perrin's liking for amateur dramatics, when on leave, adds authenticity.
Oh.
Sit down. Sit down.
All right, all right, all right.
All right.
Yeah.
Ooh. Your medical party.
I'm all right, I'm all right.
You're all right, you sit down.
Oh, I'll be okay, just get straight.
Get your medical party.
I'm okay, I'm okay. What's happening?
Get this sort of. Let's get him out of there flame down.
The wardroom, cramped at the best of times, becomes damage control, the nerve centre, dealing with emergency after emergency. And nerves are on edge. There's a lot at stake.
Over the next 5 days, we will be conducting single and double evolutions to ensure that the submarine will be able to go on to its next phase of trials, which has to be conducted in deep water. And so to do that, we'll take them up to a higher level, make them capable of easily coping with 2 or 3 things happening at once, like a fire, hydraulic burst or an HP air burst, so that when they go to sea on their own in deep water and they have a single failure, then they'll be able to cope with it with some ease, hopefully.
I'm all right.
Reggie Perrin's heat exhaustion is a performance worthy of an Oscar, but so real are the tests that for a short while no one was sure it was an act.
Yeah, got charge of his head. Oh, quick, get his stuff off. Hurry up, get his boots off, somebody.
Enter Plymouth pal Doc McGonagall to deal with him as he would any crewman. Emergency, action and backup. It's all watched.
Get your clothes off and we're going to get you out of here. You take his head. I'm all right now. I'm all right now.
At stake at the end is an assessment by our team as to whether the submarine is cleared or not cleared to go to sea. If we do not believe she's ready to go into deep water on her own, then we will not clear her.
Okay, so let's send in a couple of tag teams and investigate.
The end of the examination is a very long 4 days away. Super B and her crew are, so far, doing well, but it's going to get tougher, a lot tougher. The Sea Riders are not just there to criticise, but advise as well. But their advice has to be noted.
First thing you need to do is tell him whether the burst is isolated. Okay, so they've over-isolated. We'll take that over-isolation off. And you're laughing.
One man who's not laughing is Star Perrin. He's so well into his part as a heat-exhausted crewman that he's beginning to believe it himself. Some of those around him aren't sure either.
Yeah, your pulse is coming down now. You're looking better. You like to sit up?
I can try.
Yeah. So you can sit up then. How you feel? That's it, mate.
Those in damage control are wondering what more can be thrown at them. Already a collision, a fire, an injury and a high-pressure air burst. It seems that the Sea Riders have singled out Superb for special attention. But the boat is riding it all and the crew are gaining control.
HP air burst was initially over-isolated. We've walked back from this now and 3GOV is been reopened.
You have to hold it up, 'cause I'm shaking.
Gaining control over Reggie's acting is the doc, who recommends bed rest for his patient, to the relief of everyone.
He's coming round, he's not been unconscious, and he's going to be fine. All right.
Where would you put him? Somewhere cool, is it? In his bed. In his bunk. Or in your own bunk?
Well, in his
But not with you?
No, because that gets frowned upon in the Navy.
DCHQ.
Things at the moment are starting to get back in control. Superb has just shaved it over CSST, but it is only round 1.
How long would you recommend that he stays out of the watch spell?
Until we're happy that he's fully recovered. And he's happy that he's fully recovered as well.
Well done.
HPR system is in a normal seagoing lineup. You have the HPR system.
I have the HPR system.
An HP airburst is a nothing event to us guys, all right? And that was a nothing event. It got over-isolated. So be it, all right? If it gets over-isolated, it's our job to recognise it and get it corrected back to the minimal isolation, which is exactly what you did. That was well controlled, guys. Right, it's a piece of piss, isn't it?
I was told to act out the fact that I had heat exhaustion and collapse. So I quickly asked the guy what heat exhaustion does to someone, so I've never had it before. So he had about 30 seconds to tell me as I was walking back towards the mess. And I think I got it too right, because they actually thought that I'd actually really had collapse of heat exhaustion. And also I think Phil, the PO doc, he was a bit confused as well at the time.
You've been in that woolly bag for a while?
I don't know, I can't remember. But they looked after me alright, didn't they? Did you feel? And ever since then I have been ribbed about it.
Just need to get some water in.
Every crewman has to join in the game.
G'day there, Ship Control speaking. We're about to start plainsman training for this afternoon, and this afternoon's driver is PO writer Asprey.
Coxswain Paul Kennel from Gosport hands over to Keith Asprey from Plymouth. He will be driving the boat while all around him is madness and mayhem.
Driving the boat under normal circumstances isn't a problem. Today we were plainsman training, and what happens is that they give you different scenarios. If you're after planes are jammed to dive or rise, then you have to follow a particular procedure to get the submarine into a safe position.
He has little time to think about his home life with wife Sherry back in Plymouth. She has other, more mundane worries about his driving skills.
I must admit, I get more worried about him actually driving down from Scotland, because I know what he's like with driving, so I get more worried with that than what I actually do with him actually being on the submarine and everything. Because I think it's because I spoke to Keith about it in the past, and I know that there's so many backup systems that if something does go wrong, there's something always to sort of like cover it. So I think that's helped actually talking to Keith. In the beginning, I did worry an awful lot. I was like terrible, sort of like worrying, but now I just get used to it.
Full rise on the plane, starboard 30.
If she did know what could go wrong, she might worry.
It was hot, I thought I was on fire. And I thought a smell of burning was coming from me, but it was from somewhere else. And I was sat in a puddle by the end of it. But it's all down to making sure that we're safe.
Okay. Very good lesson there. Even though you didn't have the foreplanes throughout that evolution, use of starboard rudder actually brought the bubble up.
Yeah.
Okay, so it didn't matter.
But Sherry would be proud if she knew Keith's driving skills had saved the day.
So it was a bloody good lesson there.
The inspection lasts 5 days. 5 days of not knowing what's going to be thrown at you or when. With no daylight to gauge time, body clocks are out of kilter. Breakfast in the evening, supper in the morning, and sleep whenever.
All of this is pressure. The fact that when we're actually off watch, as you know, we're on a 6 on 6 off cycle. When we're off watch, we're up fighting fires even when we're not on watch. So we're up out of bed, and then we're into these woolly bags and fighting fires and so on again. And that's pressure. Then you go back to bed, and then it seems like 10 minutes later you're up again for something else. So there's a lot of pressure and stress. It does get a bit stressful sometimes.
Fire! 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 Fire the pantry!
And just when you're wondering what can happen next, a fire breaks out in the galley next to the wardroom and the temporary damage control centre.
Rebel documentation! Documentation!
Emergency station, emergency station. Fire! 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 Fire in the wardroom pantry.
There is only one way out, through a small hatch.
Go down, sir.
For a time, the sub's damage control centre is out of action. Every crewman is multi-skilled. Keith Asprey is no longer a sub-driver, he's now a firefighter.
Get Drager!
The dock is traffic control.
No, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sets total. We've got one full three-man team that names passed.
While the firefighters wait to hear how serious the outbreak is, the CSST is throwing trouble the way of the medic teams. Doc McGonigal is alerted that a man has been contaminated by primary coolant in a tunnel close to the nuclear reactor. It's radioactive.
What I want to do is march in this roll. What you do is not to move, right? You march in this roll, and any left loose, can you start to mop up? Start to mop. You can turn the team around the way.
Delivering assumed contaminant statement.
Need one more for the three-man team.
What numbers have you got there?
Give us a shout when you get another one.
While the firefighters still await instructions, in the tunnel there is now a sense of real urgency. If the dock does not clear up this spillage, then anyone walking past this point could be contaminated.
Any of that loose, just shove something on it. We want to put the lid on the bottle. Lid on the bottle.
With today's knowledge, radiation leaks on submarines can be contained, but fire is the submariner's worst enemy, and the crew are now facing two emergencies, radiation and fire. Keith Asprey is still in the thick of it.
If a fire's too big and we're pushed back, we then have to retreat somewhere, gather the troops, if you like, and then we get dressed in what they call fear not suits, which are those what we call woolly bags. They're thick, but they're all fire retardant, and it makes you sweat a lot, profusely. And it's like being inside a water bottle. I just seem to go from puddle to puddle. I left the puddle in the control room. I'm sat in another one now.
Stand the bottle up.
Containment of the radioactive liquid is the utmost priority. A leakage could find its way into the submarine's ventilation system and within a short time contaminate everyone on board.
Simulate heads, yeah. And we'll decontaminate from there. Okay. It was a simulation of the dropping of a sample of primary coolant out of a bottle that had been taken for analysis that we do on a daily basis. It was using water as it was a simulation, and it was to check our response to that happening. Just turn your back to me.
When you're hundreds of meters beneath the sea and something like this happens, there's no help you can readily call on. You have to help yourselves. Dealing with an emergency is teamwork, and the crew of HMS Superb, faced with everything CSST can devise for them, is becoming a team.
Do you want to tape it up? So I would tape it up, and if it was on his head, we'd put a hood on him as well. There you go.
The damage control team from the wardroom has made the long, uncomfortable journey through the narrow hatchway back aft.
The atmosphere's out of spec. You have to put EBS on down there.
Probably be quite busy down there as well. Yeah, just hold it down.
The hastily improvised new nerve centre is back on top of things. Where a few hours before there was just chaos, there is now a semblance of organised chaos.
Permission that the man's ready to be moved to decontam, and
the radiation leak has been contained, but there are still worries. While the crew of Superb are facing the most intensive and stressful 5 days of their lives, the wives are oblivious of what's happening to their husbands.
Hi, is that crowd roofing? Hi, it's Kate up at Moorhaven. You gave us a quote for building a...
The doc's wife, Kate, is not fighting emergencies, but domestic problems to her are just as great.
I decided to take some tiles off the wall to do a bit of retiling and found that about inch and a half of plaster fell off the wall. What did I do about that? Could I replaster it? No. So therefore I had to sort that out. I mean, that's a very mundane and thing that probably anybody could do, but it's not something I'd done before, so I had to then sort that out. We're trying to get building work done on the property and trying to chase builders. sort out problems with the car. I've had an awful lot of problems with the car, and a lot of places, or particularly the garages, see a woman dealing with a car problem, or builders, and they seem to have a problem with me dealing with things like that. They always assume that it should be a man dealing with it, and therefore I think I have greater problems doing it than perhaps Phil would. Thanks very much. Okay, bye.
Yeah, we'll get you there. You'll be put into a big bag. You get undressed.
Yeah.
You'll then be monitored. You'll go into the shower.
Yeah.
You'll just wash normally.
Yeah.
Okay. You'll then be re-monitored. If you're clear, and we'll get you dressed again into your aid, so another clean pair of OBs.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Sometimes dealing with a potential victim of radioactivity is a lot easier than having to deal with being apart from your husband.
It gets worse and worse as the time goes on, but there are specific times in the day when you think you're doing something that perhaps Phil's always done when he's here. It's something that he does, and I'm suddenly finding myself doing it and thinking, oh, that's a bit strange. He normally does that. It's just an ongoing feeling that there's somebody not there, there's something missing. It is a part of you that's not there. It's almost, it's not as acute as losing a limb, but I've got nobody to talk to. I'm here on my own. You find you have conversations with the dog. And perhaps times like that where you want to sort out a problem at work, talk it over when you get home, there's nobody there to do that. And that's one of my worst times.
2 extra left by the door.
Well, counted them out and then you count them back in. Right.
Stand clear, contaminated man coming through.
The contaminated man's ordeal is not over. Phil leads him away to the showers for a hose down. Like Kate, the fire team are also having to face their worst time. Their job is to put out the flames in the dark, narrow, smoke-laden confines of the submarine. It's terrifying. For Keith Asprey and his team, this is as realistic as they ever wanted to get.
In a real scenario, then it would be scary because, as you see, the lights are off, and if there's a lot of smoke, you're not able to see very far. That's why somebody has a tick, the thermal image camera, so that they can see, where the heat is, and we can fight the fire from that. But yeah, it does get a bit scary.
Fire is active. We are cooling down. Get to the EVS, man, now! Move yourself!
The 5 days that make up the Sea Riders' deep water clearance tests are nearly over. The end couldn't come sooner for the crew of Super B. No one is more shattered than Keith Asprey.
I am too old for this, I'm sure. There's younger people on the submarine, I'm sure, will be able to cope a little bit better than I do. But the captain was quite concerned the other day that I should be careful with. He doesn't want me having a heart attack going up and down these ladders with these baskets on, so I've got to take it easy.
Only one more hurdle, but a giant one. The CSST debrief, where the crew are told how they've done. Did they pass or fail? It can be a worse ordeal than the test itself.
Okay, chaps, final debrief for deep water clearance. It'll take the form that I will go through today's pickup points, as I have done, the nitty-gritty of what went wrong today. All right, get your books out. It's just as valid to take this one tonight, because the next time you see us will only be a couple of months away, on full workup, all right? And so I don't want to see the points I'm about to mention tonight. We had a bit of a problem with the escape hatch in the XO's cabin, all right? The first lieutenant had to make a very urgent and panicky pipe for some bastard to open the escape hatch from down here, all right? It's not on, guys. Had somebody not opened that, all right, we could have had fatalities there. ELSAs. No one evacuating from DCHQ this morning used an ELSA. All right, that's the whole reason for having them, guys, to get out. They're an evacuation piece of equipment, so don't forget that. You've got good potential, guys. All right, you'll next see me in about 2 months' time when I'll come back and give you some more shit. All right, and we'll build that shit up faster, and we'll have a lot more fun. Okay, I look forward to it.
CSST are giving the crew of HMS Superb a brief respite. But that doesn't mean that skipper John Humphreys hasn't got a few observations to make about the progress of his team.
We sailed from Rosyth on the 29th of May when we had the biggest red L plate on the side of the fin you ever did see. I would suggest to you now that we now have a green one. We are probationary submariners. We are, as you've heard, at a fairly fragile state of training, and you do need to think about what you've been told, so that we can consolidate on that and get rid of the green L plate. You have worked together. I do detect, as I knew I would, real teamwork and esprit de corps in this ship's company, and that you should be especially proud of. Well done. I'm so pleased with you that I'm going to take some time off now. I'm getting off tomorrow morning, principally because the XO has been dripping like a leaky tap about not getting a chance to do anything except change standing orders and write daily orders and all the rest of it. So I'm going to get off and let him have a play. The fact that you're doing deep dive and full power trial has got nothing to do with that. And I will be thinking of you. So be careful. Thanks very much, gentlemen.
Behind the smile and the jokes, Commander Humphreys is facing different pressures from home that the rest of the crew know nothing about. Those worries have been with him from almost the moment Superb sailed.
Unfortunately, when we sailed from Faslane, we were about 80 odd miles out, and I got the news my father had died. So I got off, and the XO, who's command qualified, who's done the submarine command course, got a chance to move into the deluxe suite we currently occupy. And he did the deep dive and the full power trial very successfully. He's a bright lad, younger than me, swine, but he's now got some experience as well, and that's invaluable.
Superb has dived since her massive refit, but none has been like this one.
Comms of the aircraft telling him that we're going deep in the next 2 to 3 minutes, and then we'll be on our way down to 205 metres. That's all.
In command will be Executive Officer Ian Breckenridge.
We've tested everything in refit, and we pressure test all hull valves and other equipment. And the final test, of course, is to take the submarine down to deep diving depth for the sort of the real test. We do it in stages. So we went to sort of one depth, did a load of tests there, down to another depth, and then finally down to deep diving depth.
We've basically opened up all these hatches here because we're expecting the fittings and the pressure hull to be squeezed up at depth, and the last thing we want is to have doors and cupboards jammed shut.
The pressure on the outside hull is enormous, equal to the pressure on the crew itself. But they have to trust that the designers and builders knew what they were doing. When they say Superb can go so deep, then it must be tested to that depth. Minor leaks can be dealt with. Major ones could be catastrophic.
Do you have to play Who Wants to Live Forever while we're doing a deep dive?
How deep she will go is classified, but it will be deep. Very, very deep.
And a special mention for Evian Moffat.
Evian Moffat, he doesn't like being deep. The ball seems clear, but that's a steady drip.
Behind the nervous banter, every crewman is straining for the sounds and signs that mean something could be wrong. These are tense minutes for even experienced submariners like Reggie Perrin.
I think most people on here had been down to deep diving test pressure before, but it's always nice to rely on the equipment, especially the first one after all those years in refit. I must admit it was a bit hairy at times, and a few bulkheads were bending, the wood was cracking throughout the submarine, quite a few of that's had to be replaced. A few tiles come up in the galley and the heads and the bathrooms, but other from that it was just really cosmetic damage with inside, nothing major, nothing that you wouldn't expect anyway from a deep dive. But it was successful, and we've got confidence now in our equipment. We know it works down deep.
While the build-up, the dive and the aftermath the train for carried out and examined, there are other events that will be missed. Events on shore that most people take for granted and not part of a submariner's life, like a child's birthday.
Nicole always says she doesn't want me to go, which is understandable. You know, she's 6.5 now, she understands me going away. But she's always glad to see me when I come home. Michael hasn't got no concept of time at the moment, bless him. Apparently anyone walking down the street is Dada.
Nicole, show you how to do it. Once he's home, they're all over him, you know, especially Michael, I think. It just follows his dad everywhere when he's home. Once he's been home for a while, whether that'll wear off or not, I don't know. But you see, when he does come home, he seems to want his dad more than he does me, you know.
Back on Superb, it's not only the skipper who's having to deal with bad news. Coxswain Paul Kennel has had to leave Superb to make the long journey from Faslane back to his home in Gosport. His wife Michelle needs him badly after a traumatic experience. It also gives him time to spend with his children, a much-needed break from the family on the boat to see his family at home. Part of it spent, where else, at the Submarine Museum.
Rachel, Dad was on this one. It's a model of one Dad used to be on years ago. It was Resolution, and they got rid of those ones. You see the missile hatches there, look. Used to be 16. Yeah, and the conning tower with the men in the bridge, look. She went out to park the car one night and left the door ajar, and some chap decided to come in through the door, take her handbag and run down the road, and she just caught sight of him and ran after him as best she could, but did her backing in the process of it. So that took about, well, it's still ongoing now. She's still getting physiotherapy, and it's brought out that there might be a few other problems wrong with her as well that she's got. So it's been sort of ongoing for the last year now, unfortunately.
I had to deal with cancelling the chequebook and all the cards and everything like that. And then the police came and had to go to Gosport Police Station, make a statement and everything. And Paul didn't know anything about that till he'd come home then. That had all been done by the time he'd come home.
That's what he used to use for talking. So there'd be somebody sat here, and whoever he wanted to talk to, he would move a button down. Michelle's been married to me now for quite a while, and she's got used to being the Navy wife. She kept quiet to me, really, as to how bad it had got.
I didn't think it was that serious to get family services involved to tell him, because he'd only worry anyway. There's no point worrying him if he can't do anything about it.
All right, I want to steer it, and then you've got to go back and forward to keep on depth, look. Oh, we're going down now. Don't do that. Going down. It was during the sea trial stage that I rang home on the Saturday and could tell things weren't as they should be. You know, she was suffering a lot more than she was telling me. And her mother come down to see her on the Sunday and said, right, that's it. You know, I'm going to put you to bed and get a doctor in. And they rang me up, and the doctor confined her to bed for 4 days, and they got me off the boat for the month.
Where are they going to build the tower, look? I've never had to get to the stage where I couldn't cope on my own. And the fact that I really needed him here was very unusual for me, because I've always been able to, my family don't live far and things like that, so they've always been on hand to help me. But this time I just couldn't manage on my own. I mean, I could hardly walk, or I'd slip my disc. So for him to be here was good, really, and not only helped me but the children as well. So
you want something? You see the Victory?
Paul will have to make the difficult choice soon on whether to leave the Navy or not. Back on Superb, there's a sense of a job well done. The deep dive went well, and John Humphreys is back in command. Next is a sail to Den Helder in Holland. The crossing takes Superb into the busiest sea lanes in the world. She might be powerful and deadly underwater, but Superb on the surface is a small object on a big sea and dwarfed by merchant vessels. Vigilance is the key word.
We're presently navigating our way up the English Channel, which is one of the most busiest shipping routes in the world, if not the most busiest shipping route in the world, with the amount of traffic that's going through it. So we've got to be pretty accurate, there's no pretty about it, you've got to be accurate all the way through. I've just had a look at the radar screen before we came on, and we have got other vessels all around us at the moment. Us being the fastest one, we're slowly overtaking them all. We can't do any sudden movements because they'll be watching us and we're watching them all the time, so we've got everything just right. At the moment, touch wood, everything's going okay.
100, 200.
Keith Asprey is, at the moment, the most popular man on board, but he's not popular at home with his missus.
Thank you. Thanks, Sam. Bye. Bye.
300, 310, 320.
I'll keep, I trust you anyway.
Keith's job is to give out the subbies for the traditional run ashore, a few wets in the Dutch bars. But wife Sherry is missing him and finding things hard.
I think I take it out on the girls at work sometimes as well. When I get my bossy head on and I feel a bit of stress sort of thing. But I think they're quite good because they can sort of like sense that I might be feeling that sort of like little bit way out, and they sort of like just leave me alone and let me get on with it. I think you just get right to the end of it and you just think you just had enough. You just like can't take any more of being on your own. You get fed up with it. You get angry with them for actually putting you in this situation.
Who's next?
I'm coming in, mate. Yeah, I've got to get some money for a lift over.
Asprey's.
This, gentlemen, is our first time at sea as a fleet unit. We are no longer on sea trials. We are here as of right. The boat works, it works well. As a ship's company, we are working well.
Complacency is something the skipper will not tolerate. The crew have done well and deserve a few days in a foreign port, but they're there to represent the Royal Navy and the country, and they mustn't be let down.
But one of the points of me speaking to you now is to ask you to continue with that level of commitment, because we've got a long way to go.
Reggie Perrin is fed up that he's missed his son's second birthday, but he's navigating as Superb approaches Den Helder, where she'll be under the watchful eyes of foreign navies. He hasn't got much time to think about home and children.
Just working out now what speed he's been doing over the last hour, because we've obviously got to be where we're going at a certain time. We don't want to fall behind it or get too far ahead. So the officer watching can adjust his speed as we get nearer to our destination. Bridge clock. Fix on 2 minutes old using GPS puts you on track and safe. Speed made good over the last hour, 13.1 knots.
Leading hand Jamie Sowden has also got a lot to think about. He's about to take exams that will take him up the ladder.
Well, it's basically an oral board about the tactical weapons system on the boat. My job as a controller in the sound room, so I can take control and charge in the sound room. Got to be able to know exactly what's happening with the torpedo at any time, and the sonar and the tactical weapons system in general. You know, can be a bit tense.
Back home in Penzance, Jamie's wife Mandy is also studying. Mutual support is there for neither.
The advanced certificate in marketing exams, I've been doing that about 9 months now, and I'm coming up to exam time, so obviously I've been putting in as much work as possible. I know how much I want them, you know, and I've worked so hard that I think about failing, and I don't want to have to do resits. I've worked so hard this time to take them the first time. I don't want to have to do resits.
Jamie's examination is tough, but if he passes, it will take him, at the age of 27, closer to becoming a petty officer. Working with the tactical weapons systems, he has to have, amongst other things, a thorough working knowledge of the information that's needed to fire a torpedo from the bomb shop. He has to coordinate all the information, so his is a vital role.
is there an embedded terminal in there?
Yeah, yeah. 2 embedded terminals in Smacks.
Mandy wants Jamie to succeed, but she also knows that a pass could be a double-edged sword. His commitment to stay in the Navy will be reinforced with all its attendant disruptions to home life. It'll make it harder for her.
The important bits were fine, you buffed, I was quite happy with that. And I would say you've got the 65-70% knowledge now.
It's a gruelling hour, but Jamie passes.
Okay? Yeah. Well, that's fine, it's a good pass, quite happy. All right, thanks. All right.
Well done.
Good stuff. That's another one complete.
Hurrah! All right, you can relax for a couple of hours.
We can get out now.
Okay, come on.
You want to rack out?
Okay, 14th, 19th of October, we're going to be visiting Den Helder. Den Helder's in the Netherlands. We're at the top here. Amsterdam's down there. It's about 60 minutes away on the train. 2 trains every hour, 25 minutes, 55 minutes past the hour. Okay. Den Helder itself is not unlike Gosport. Yeah. So no, it's not. It's actually quite good. They're quite tolerant of matelots because they're very used to them, unlike Gosport. And there are a lot of very reasonable clubs. A lot of you will decide, instead of staying in Den Helder, you want to go to Amsterdam instead. And we've got some information on that, which we'll give to you during the course of this brief.
The run ashore is a time to unwind after the strains of deep water clearance. It will be fun, but more of the crew than you would think say they would prefer to be at home with their families. The Dutch pilot and tugs safely manoeuvre Super B alongside. The visit is not just a 3-day jolly, it's a flag-waving exercise to show Britain's continued support of NATO and its aims. Submariners around the world are a breed apart, and when together, the talk is submarines. Den Helder has close links with Superb's home port. The name of the bar says it all.
It doesn't start getting interesting till about 10, 11 o'clock.
But submarines are certainly not the topic of conversation elsewhere. Hundreds of miles away, another group is meeting for a drink and a chat. Their talk is about their husbands.
But I think once you find that he's been home for a certain amount of time, you will get back into the normal way of things, won't you?
Yeah, but I think
and after a while you'll forget he's never been there.
I think it's going to take time.
Oh, definitely.
I don't think you can rush back into it because you've been living single lives, haven't you?
That's right.
And you have to get used to each other again.
So we actually sort of try to move forward.
Station area, that last time I was there, that's all I meant to.
Come out of the station, right? There's a tram number 20 that you get from just outside the station. It takes you right around Amsterdam.
Go down the steps, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, under the road and up again. There's the tram stop there.
They leave things around all the time, sort of like lying around, and you're forever going around.
Get away with it in me because he knows what I'm like.
Well, maybe I'm a bit soft then.
Cups by the sink when you've got a dishwasher.
Oh, no,
little things like that, and you think, well, just, before you just used to put it in, why not now? And
yeah,
I don't know.
Or maybe
I don't know whether
maybe that's just us then, because we've been used to, I don't know, we've been used to sort of like doing things our own way sort of thing, and then they come in and there's more of a mess, isn't there?
He keeps fixing his chairs and his stereo.
Well, I have a dabble here and there.
Oh, there you go, see? Operator maintainer.
Yeah.
No problem.
4 o'clock when certain bars are closed, other ones are going well. There are bars open at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Smelly old clothes. And the submarine smell wafts in through the door.
But it just stays. Yeah. You can wash them, you can shower them, you can scrub them, whatever, but it's just there in their paws and their hair and their clothes. And But it's just something you just get used to, I suppose, don't you?
At one stage when I was in sea training, I came up with the idea that we should have an international submarine party. The aim of the game is to get submarine representatives at a junior level together in a big hotel somewhere, put security guards around the outside, lock them in with all the standard submarine games that we play, uckers, card games and all the rest of it, and we would have a whale of a time because we all have the same sense of humour. Most of them, thankfully, speak good English because my Dutch is absolutely terrible.
It is.
And it would be one hell of a party. Unfortunately, of course, it'll never happen because it'll be much too politically sensitive, and the hotel will be destroyed in the process.
After 3 days of letting off steam and some diplomacy in Holland, a Navy decision that, on the face of it, seems harsh. On the way back to Scotland, Superb stops off in Plymouth, but only to take on weapons. Because of time and predicted bad weather, there is no opportunity for any of the locally based crew to see their families. After a mammoth £200 million refit lasting 3.5 years and months of hard training and exercises, HMS Superb is back in the Royal Navy. But she is still not deemed to be back on active service.
Cabinet casing.
There now comes the final test. CSST, the Sea Riders, are back on board. They're here to observe as Super B goes on an operational exercise, OPEX. The submarine is going to war.
Evening, Captain, Sir, gentlemen. As you all know, OPEX is the culmination of Superb's period of BOST and will consist of a 78-hour assessment in an operational environment. The exercise will take place in the Scottish exercise areas between 03-0900 Zulu and 06-1500 Zulu, December 98. Our mission is quite simple: to exercise Superb within a realistic scenario, allowing an assessment of the standard we've already achieved at the end of BOST. It's basically the exam for the operational workup.
This is a game, we're training, we're here to learn a job. The only way we can do that is by playing it for real. So, from 06 Dubs tomorrow, we will be at war. The rules of the game in the modern world are complex. Rules of engagement, you've heard that one mentioned once already. That means that at the start of this game, when we're playing here, our overriding priority is to remain undetected. And that's where everybody comes in. Every single one of you must make sure that the routines, the stowage, and all the other bits and pieces that have been hammered into us over the last 3 or 4 weeks happen as a matter of course. Apart from the operational tasks, it's a whole ship evolution because every man jack of us will be required to fight action damage. Every single one of us will be required to fight the ship. When you're not fighting the ship, making good defects, or planning for the next evolution, you sleep. And lastly, and probably more important than all the rest, enjoy it. Have something to tell your grandchildren when you are even older and uglier than you are already.
Okay, right, gentlemen. This morning's evolution.
It is a war, but a pretend war.
OPEX AD4. 5-minute countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, now.
Emergency stations, shut.
After slipping from her berth, HMS Superb disappears. This is her role, the reason for the long refit. Her electronics are her eyes and ears, but there are eyes and ears watching her. CSST are back, and for the next few days, every move that Super B makes will be analysed and assessed.
The collision has occurred.
It's the captain's responsibility to train up his own ship's company. But he can't do that by himself. So I run an organisation called CSST, which stands for Captain Submarine Sea and Shore Training. And we run simulators ashore so that the ship's company can be trained up before they go to sea. And we also have teams that go to sea to train the ship's company when they're out at sea. And when a submarine has been away from the front line for a while, Superb has come out of refit, her ship's company needs quite a bit of training to get her ready to go into the front line once again.
Okay, we've got an electrical failure. We've lost VHF. Can you call up the SS School Morley and find out if she's suffered any damage?
The commander, John Humphreys, may be surrounded by ultra-modern detection and weapons systems and the crew who operate them, but the buck stops at the skipper.
We don't wander around with responsibility written in reverse in big capital letters on our forehead, so we see it in the mirror every morning. It's our job. We're professionals.
DCHQ. It's 276 and shut, no risk of fire. No, I want the bulkhead sorted out. I want every finish with the trim system, and I can give it back to ship control. I'm not getting enough information here.
I'm just reminded of the AA's advert, the 4th emergency service. Well, I'm the 1st, so they're the 5th now.
Emergency stations, emergency stations. Hydraulic burst, hydraulic burst, hydraulic burst.
This is life at the front line.
Hand controls, operate watertight doors in hand control.
We exist in a system which is designed to foster the ability to go and do any of our operational roles. It isn't mindlessness. We're not some sort of unthinking puppet with our collective finger poised over the button. We're much more intelligent than that.
As well as fighting the enemy, the boat must be able to cope with any damage inflicted on them. A fire in the WSC, the weapons storage compartment, could be catastrophic.
DCHQ attack party leader. An attack B have been beaten back. There's a lot of smoke in the WSC. The smoke boundary is WSC hatch. WSC is evacuated. Initiate WSC spray.
Electrical failure. All compartments carry out the electrical audit alpha and report to DCHQ.
The wardroom becomes the damage control headquarters. Information and incidents are coming in thick and fast.
Okay, door was balanced across there for the bulkhead shut down on completion. Go ahead, DC Wheel.
Right, support party, I need hoses here now, come on! Bulkhead.
It's not just the flames that have to be dealt with. Smoke in the claustrophobic corridors of a submarine brings other problems.
Can we get let the air get foul, compress it into a group, quarter the system, so we can stow the gas in one, and
we could go on to prolonged use of EBS.
No,
and then
it's not an option.
No, not an option. No, we can't separate the air out and just put it into one bottle group.
The men from CSST are going to make this as difficult as possible. Men and machine will be tested to their limits.
Over the last few days, they've had problems with their atmosphere. They're having to control their atmosphere. It's not as good as it should be. At the moment, they're having problems with water. They're actually using up water faster than they're making it. They're having problems with their equipment, and so they can't rely on all their sonars, and it's building up into a major management problem for all the officers to control so that the captain can do his job.
We lost the RTU speed inputs yesterday, but we managed to recover that by a bit of judicious swapping and changing of bits and pieces. We've now got a pretty ingenious but nevertheless fragile repair to that. So as I briefed you before, we may actually lose the log.
String?
It is string, sir, literally string.
String.
As briefed, sir, we've got a damaged spearfish. We've sent the signal advising inboard that we've got a problem with the warhead. It is not an explosive hazard, but we've just advised them that we're one spearfish down.
Thank you very much.
Well,
OPEX war games are as real as possible, but naturally they have limitations.
Or say like that.
320.
Safety is paramount. Accidental collisions are avoided by strict rules. Anything closer than 1,500 yards to the sub, when dived, means she must surface. In this case, a lone trawler means that Super B must break cover.
Stand by to communicate on VHF number 1.
This one small fishing boat ruins the covert nature of the exercise. But rules are rules and are designed to protect lives.
This is Surface Submarine. I've surfaced 1500 yards ahead of you. I'm heading clear of your position to the south. Are you happy? Over.
Yes, that's very nice. We've just been a hole here, right?
It's not exactly the start that anyone, especially the skipper, wanted.
Listening 1-4 out. Okay, he's a village bell, sir. He's happy.
It's actually also slightly embarrassing in terms of me being assessed by the trainers, us, the ship's company, being assessed by the trainers. If I'm supposed to be covert, ending up on the surface, talking on VHF to a fisherman, asking him if he's all right and if he's happy, and establishing good two-way comms, is not achieving the covert aim.
Only when safe distances have been regained can Superb continue her underwater game of cat and mouse. Already OPEX is proving tougher than everyone expected.
Stop the supply fan. Dive on the planes.
The stakes are high.
6 down. 30 metres back to 18 metres.
The OPEX is the end of their training period, and what we do during OPEX is assess her to see how good she is to go back into the front line. So it is the assessment period. It's a final hurdle they have to get over before she gets into the front line and gets some operational tasking. So for a submarine, it's very important.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Time now, 10:45 Zulu. Action stations. Action stations.
Run silent, run deep. See but don't be seen. Hear but don't be heard. It's the submarine code that is learned on exercises like these.
There is to be only one person speaking at any one time. That requires discipline of us all. Whether it's ship control, on the periscope or ops. When the periscope is up, everybody else is to be quiet. This has got to be conducted in near silence so we can concentrate. The sequence of events will be as follows. One more target setup. We will then go deep and position ourselves 1,000 yards astern of the target, whereupon we will return to periscope depth, do the last setup and then go underneath. End of brief. Carry on.
Above them, HMS Coventry, for the benefit of this exercise, becomes the enemy. The surface ships in this game are officered and crewed by people with similar expertise. Their goals are just different.
Now the propellers are still ahead of the sonar.
Superb gets the first free kick by placing herself undetected under the bows of the anti-submarine warfare frigate above them.
Coming left, underneath. Ooh, isn't this exciting? Might watch your paint dry, isn't it?
Despite the commander's asides, this is pushing everything and everyone to the limit.
Steer 351.
It's the way a real incident would take place, with the attendant danger.
There you go, there's a stabiliser. He is going.
After 73, 1 loud to loud, still moving
Right,
right.
we haven't got long. Come down 2 revs. We'll let him. Yeah, there's the bow. Look, there's the shape of the bow.
After 73, decreasing in
And we were getting all excited, and you were thinking, what the hell was that all about? On an operational basis, what you're trying to do is get under there, and he's not supposed to know you're there. Because you're looking at his underside, because you can get you can get totally unique intelligence from that.
But it can be pretty tricky.
Oh yeah. It's great fun though. Great fun. I mean, it's 4,000 tons of ship above you, and you're 4,000 tons. You've got a nuclear reactor on board, and he's full of armaments.
There is no room for error.
3 down, keep 45 metres.
Before we put the final signal together, I want to go round all of you for your final assessments, please. Starting with...
Okay, so at the end of OPEX and the end of training, I believe that the ETS department, having taken on board all the lessons learned, have been assessed as satisfactory.
Marine Engineering Department overall VSAT.
After 3 days, it's time for the final assessment from CSST. Satisfactory is an Admiralty way of saying you've passed. Time to tell the crew.
Warfare and then the control rooms are satisfactory.
Every crewman is nervous, none more so than the skipper. He feels his mistake when he got close enough to the trawler that by the rules he had to surface may have let his crew down.
I've got a signal here which I'll be sending to your captain. It reads, from CSST to HMS Superb. Throughout the BOST, you have received strong direction from the top, particularly when facing demanding situations. You are slowly adopting and should continue to develop a similar attitude at all levels of what is a capable management team. You will then become a more effective fighting unit. Your aim should be to drive events rather than being driven by them. Overall, you have achieved a satisfactory level of performance. Well done, gentlemen, and good luck on your certification. Thank you.
Just coming up.
Hiding his relief, for once even the commander is lost for words.
Well done. I've just written a letter to my mum, and it starts with the word wow, exclamation mark. That was one of the most difficult things I've ever done. I've been on the other side as a trainer, and I've been on board a submarine during OPEX before, but for me it was hard work.
The final test has been passed, and HMS Superb is now on the list for active service. The Sea Riders are satisfied with the skippers, the crews and the boat's performance. Commander Humphreys is rightly proud of his boat and his men. HMS Superb is living up to her name.
I know that when I leave in early May, this boat is capable of doing anything. Properly supported, properly planned, set up, with the right level of information given to the right people on board, this boat can do anything it's called upon from now on. Superb's reputation is in place, and the last building block has been this 12 weeks.
The blue waters of the Mediterranean, and Super B is on her way home. It takes a very large, expensive submarine to achieve just a percentage of what the Dolphin can do. They provide the crest of the submarine service, have a natural affinity with the waves and beneath. Effortlessly they command the element that we humans still fear at times, but submariners like the Dolphins are a special breed.
It's about the family of the submarine service. We look after our people. We spend a lot of time and effort training them, getting them qualified. We operate in a system which promotes the right level of professional excellence, and at the same time the right level of being able to go ashore as a bunch of mates and have a good time.
Unlike the Dolphin, submariners, it seems, are far from graceful in the water.
Oh, I missed that one.
We've been away now for 2 and a bit months of 3, and through all the trials and tribulations of programme change and all the rest of it, there is a backup service trying to keep our friends and families informed about what's going on. It's looking after the people that to me is the most important thing, and it's the most satisfying part of my job.
The crew are coming to the end of their time at sea and are thinking of home. Commander Humphreys' thoughts are on his future.
The other day I stood outside my cabin and looked the length and breadth of the control room and suddenly thought to myself, this is a very small machine in a very big ocean. Yeah, there's a danger, but I feel it. Everybody does. There's a thing called the coffin dream that happens to some submariners. Some people have to go through the phase. You're lying in your bunk, which you've seen is small. Your only real privacy is when you're unconscious in it, curtained shut, cocooned in your duvet. And for me, it's the dream is you stick your hand out and it goes through the pressure hull, and the outside bit freezes because the water's so cold, and you can't escape.
You can train for most things, but knowing when to let go is sometimes the most difficult lesson of them all.
some of the operations we do involve an element of risk, which by our professionalism is controlled and defined. So whether I'm manoeuvring the submarine in close underneath a ship, whether I'm manoeuvring the submarine to get into a firing position on a potentially hostile submarine, sneaking up to someone's beach, or working with special forces, there's an element there of intense satisfaction. Yeah, and I love it. I'm getting to the end of my time, and I'm starting to lose the edge. It's time for me to move on.
HMS Superb's story began in the shadow of the 4th rail bridge at Rothscythe, with the frantic preparations to get the boat ready. There were tearful farewells, and then a whole series of firsts. First voyage. First dive. First firing. And first war simulation. Now, some 12 months after first putting to sea, the long journey back from the Mediterranean gives ample opportunity for contemplation. Safely back at her base in Faslane, it's time now for Commander Humphreys to say goodbye to the officers of his command for the last time. In a service that, by its very nature, means that goodbyes are a way of life, this one is different. At a party given in his honour, there is the kind of stiff upper lip emotion we have come to expect from members of the senior service.
Pay attention at the back. I've been looking forward to this chance to speak because it's my last chance to say how much I have enjoyed serving with you all. Welling music, emotion, okay? It's my last chance and it's the last time I'll say it, so it's the last time you get it, right? Can I say thank you to you all for your support, for your friendship, for putting up with my mood swings, and I do reluctantly admit that I am not always the light and soul of the party. I borrowed a quotation to describe each of the officers on board out of the Royal Naval Submarine Museum diary, which I have, of course, read from cover to cover, because I am that keen. This is an easy one. This is about XO, the XO Ian. It's a quotation. It comes from a book. Everybody should believe in something. I believe I'll have another drink. Pretty accurate. Deputy Weo, he's the one in the blue shirt. And ladies and gentlemen, he is in love. And the saying is, without Kate, wait for it, without Kate, life is a journey through a desert.
Oh. My credibility is shot.
This is the emotional bit. This is the end of my time in command. Hurrah! Oh, and the end, for me, of an era. I am now too old to go to sea. I should be sad, it says here, but actually I believe there's a time to go, and when that time comes, you're a fool if you don't. I was rather hoping that the new captain would be here, David Pollock. I trained him. I therefore commend him to you. He's younger, brighter, clean-shaven, and it is much less appropriate that you call him father. I wish you all, and I mean all of you, boys, girls, and children, the very, very best for the future, and I would ask you to look after the new captain as you've looked after me. Preferably better. Thank you. Okay. Good morning. Welcome, welcome. Watch out for the mundungus.
I don't need to be here, and that's certain je ne sais quoi, you know, the medal-winning bit, you know. But no, so I'm superfluous extra requirements. I'll end up getting very fat and very pale and very bored and probably bad-tempered, and it would be better if I wasn't here.
HMS Superb, help!
Thank you very much, fellas. Look after the new guy for me, all right? And he'll look after you. I'm going for a bit of a spin, okay?
I'm sad that it's come to an end, but I've done my job. Ticking the box, so I'll go do something else now.
Super B has a new skipper, and there are new loyalties to be forged. It's been a year the crew and their old commander will and can never forget. Coxswain Paul Kennel is leaving the service after 24 years in submarines. Phil Doc McGonagall now works in a Plymouth hospital. Reggie Perrin has been promoted to Chief Petty Officer, and Commander Humphreys is now a sea rider.
Simple. No, that's all right. Once you've driven the submarine, everything else pales into significance.